today we have an extra special guest. She is one of our very valued listeners, and we're so happy to have her here. We have future Dr. Sayde King. She's a PhD student at the University of South Florida, and she's working in computer science and engineering. She's also a Sloan Minority PhD scholar, and for her educational background, she got her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, also from University of South Florida, where she minored in international studies. Currently, she's in a research lab called Cyber, that stands for Cyber Identity, Behavior, and Research Lab, where she's investigating novel topics related to behavioral biometrics and security. She's looking at deception detection using body language as well as sound. And not to mention, her advisor is also a Black woman who happens to also be from the University of Florida, where Jeremy and I work. Shout out to Tempest. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
She also participates in CRAWP activities, who's one of our sponsors, and that we're very, very grateful for. Shout out to the sponsors. If you don't know about them, please Google them. They have so many different wonderful programs for students who are in computing. And if that wasn't enough, she also tutors for the urban scholars in the Tampa area. She mentors for Bulls Engineering. She's also interned as an undergrad and currently also as a grad student. She's worked places like Northrop Grumman, Abacode Cybersecurity, RPI Consultants. And as a grad student, she's been with PNNL, which is the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. So without further ado, Sayde, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
We are so excited.
Yes, we're excited to have you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring us back to the CRAWP conversation because this is how we got connected to Sayde. So
Right.
you mentioned she's like a valued listener, but Sayde randomly popped into our little Modern Figure session
I had
during
to say something.
the virtual CRAWP session, and she was like, I don't even know what I was talking about at the time. I was just
I
talking to
don't
everybody in
remember.
the room about randomness, Modern Figures podcast related, and she was just like hanging out. She stayed until almost everyone left, and she was
Yeah.
like, I just wanted to say, like, you're the reason I'm here. And I was just like, what? What do you mean? Like, we didn't pay for people to come to this. Like, we're in here for free. Like, they
Right.
gave us the sponsorship. And proceeded to explain how exposure from the podcast changed her life. So we got to
love
hear
it.
all about
Literally.
it.
We love
Yeah.
it.
No,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, so let's start out in the beginning. How did you grow up? What was it like? Are you from Tampa?
No, so I'm from Palm Beach County. So it's
Oh, okay.
it's a decent drive from Tampa. It's
Yeah,
like
like on the other side,
four.
right?
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Opposite
you
side of
have to
Florida.
hop all the way over and then drive south a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I grew up in Palm Beach County. It was my mom, my sister, and I, and grandma was always around. And so my mom, she worked in crime scene, but she was always working super long hours. But yeah, that's where the love for science and stuff kind of came in. I wanted to be a crime scene investigator like my mom for a really long time until she would tell me stories and I realized how unglamorous it is. And then I was like, oh, that's not going to work out. Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
100%.
But
That's
that's cool having a mom that was a scientist that got you started in inquiry and wondering things.
Yeah. We would do every summer, normal kids would do, I don't want to say fun camps, but we basically took courses at Palm Beach State, and they were always science courses and stuff. She wanted us to be she didn't want us to be intimidated by math and by science. So she always talks about how she got us in tutoring in Kumon, and we would hide our packets because we were in it for so many years. And she's always when we complain about calculus and stuff, she's like, you could have been mathematicians.
Oh no.
But you would throw away your Kumon bag. I'm like, I did the best I could.
That's
Wow.
so cool. So, I mean, not everybody has that story where they had a parent or a direct influence that got them into science or math. So that's really
Definitely.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
Yeah. So you mentioned you did these math camps and, special sort
Nerd
of
camp.
nerd camps. Yeah. Did
Yes.
any of them steer you towards tech?
That's a good question. No, what actually kind of got me into like computing was I went to Atlantic High School in Delray Beach. That's my high school alma mater.
Oh,
But there was an elective that I took, and we kind of served as like IT for the school. I was really excited to do that because it was like a pretty chill class. You just kind of hung out until someone called for you, and then you'd go help or whatever. But we would like, the tower desktops, we would like take them apart and like clean them out and like put memory in them and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, this must be computer engineering. And so I was like, I'm going to major in computer science because I know computer engineering. Like, I literally thought that was computer engineering. So I was like, I know that already.
Click,
Like, I'm going to do
engineer.
computer science.
let me do
And
the
that
other
was it.
side. Let me do the software. Side.
Yeah.
I got the hardware down.
Yeah. I was like, I know what that is. Been there, done that.
That's amazing. That's
It's
so
hilarious because I've learned so much more since then. I was like, that wasn't it. But
Yeah,
okay.
you went to USF and you were like,
That is not it.
no,
Right.
this is not exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the fact that you had that much exposure to computing where you could make a logical, like, hey, I'm going to differentiate hardware, even if it wasn't correct, being exposed to it even as a major to, land in the ballpark of where, you want it to be.
I'm gonna
That's
tell
pretty
you,
cool.
I had computer guts all over my dining room table, much to my mother's dismay, because my dad
Oh,
used to he
wow.
worked for AT&T, so same type of thing.
Oh,
Like
that's
people would bring
cool.
him computers and be like, "Fix this," and he would just take them apart. So I knew all the parts of the computer, but I remember being like, not dealing with that in
Oh,
school, not
wow.
interested, don't want to do it. And I'd taken like coding. I don't think I ever made that connection that it could be computer engineering. So
Wow.
that's yeah, that's a different level of thinking that I personally did
Thank
not have.
you.
So, you were onto
Aw,
something. You were onto something.
Yep.
that's so funny. Yeah. I thought I figured it all out. I thought I had it all sorted out at like 17. I was like, yeah, no need to go to school for that
That
one.
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
right, as a Black female.
Yeah. It's like, I know everything. I have seen it all. I
Definitely.
know the
Yep.
world.
Yep.
So then you learned the real difference between computer
Yes.
science and computer engineering when you got to college. So what was
Yes.
your, college experience like? Was it everything you thought it was going to be? Were there some awakening moments for you?
That's a good question. I honestly think I had a blast in undergrad, but I don't know. I always feel like I wasn't like the typical, I don't know what people expect a computer science student to be. I was always like I didn't want to just do computer science. So I was like obnoxiously involved. I was like, I was a resident assistant for a long time, like 3 years. And I was a USF ambassador, which was so much fun. We got to like work these fun events and like talk to people who would sponsor and donate to the university and stuff. So it was like a fun thing to do, but it was also like it took a lot of time kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so I wasn't, the computer science student who had a bunch of external projects that they were constantly grinding on. I was like, I'm going to do my schoolwork and then I'm going to go do other things that are fun. And so I'm not just constantly typing away at a computer all the time. Like I still like interacting with people.
Us too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as extroverts.
Yes.
Us too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I needed a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did your colleagues ever be like, what? You're doing people things? Like, other folks in your
Mhm.
classes, did they look at you like you were crazy?
I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, I didn't have very many friends in my classes. I didn't really connect that well with the other CS students. I would have like, there were like a couple people here and there, but they were kind of like on the same wavelength as me. We would just like do our work and then like, and go live our lives.
Right. Like this thing is not about to own me. I don't need
Yeah,
to.
kind of thing.
No, that's, I think, the attitude to have, definitely. Like, I always felt like, oh, I have to be this nerd and, sit in a closet and type in the
Yeah.
dark.
There's a huge pressure to be that. And I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
In the closet though?
In the
The
dark as
closet,
well.
yes, it needs to be
Yes.
dark. And so that's your only source
You're
of
just
Mm.
focusing, and the
it's
only
just,
source of light is your code. Like,
Oh my
it's,
gosh.
there's
I
a lot
think
of
that's
pressure
what
to be
people
that
actually
person.
think about when they think of computer
yeah, that's
scientists.
what they think about, like hackers and the
Mm-hmm.
black and green screen, and you're
Yep.
just yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
That's a tragedy.
No, but I like the fact that you didn't feel intimidated by that external pressure. The fact that you're like, look,
Yeah.
I'm coming to these classes, do my
It took
work, and
some
then
time. It took some time to get there, but I didn't want to be an RA because I was like, I don't like talking to people. But an RLC was like encouraged me. She was like, people like you. And I was like, I don't like people. She's like, well, it would help you a lot if, you were an RA and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And I had a lot of fun doing it. My staff was a good time. And there was a time like I think one of the biggest, like, I don't want to say most defining, but it was a defining moment for me for sure was trying to actually get into the department. So when you're admitted at USF, you're admitted to the College of Engineering, but you're not in the department. And so it was a hustle
oh
to
wow,
get to the computer science department for me for sure, especially because I did IB as a high school
Mm.
student. And so you come in with some of those credits. And so, like, all the credits that were left were like physics and calculus. And
Mhm.
so I had to have this GPA between like my physics and calculus. And I was like, that's a little rough. So
That
yeah.
is.
it took me more time. So I retook English so I could have those, like, that GPA contributed towards it. But it took some time and it was a huge hurdle,
I can imagine.
honestly.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of pressure.
it's all that
Yeah,
concentrated work. Like usually it's like, oh, you can kind of spread all of that difficultness across other
exactly.
classes, but yeah, they're like, no,
Yeah,
you've already done the less difficult things. Here are all
exactly.
your hard classes together.
Yeah,
So did
it's
you
tough.
get like scholarships and stuff to go to school? Because you were
Yeah, I
clearly
got,
smart.
yeah, huh?
I said you're clearly smart. So
Right.
Oh, thank you. My
I
mom
mean,
thought so.
she knew. She knew.
I was able to get the Florida Bright Futures. So
Hmm.
I had one of the tiers of that. I'm not sure which one,
Yeah.
but I actually lost it. I got,
Hmm.
when I took Cal 2, I got like a failing grade. And so I lost my scholarship.
Oh
But
man.
I had the Florida Bright Future Scholarship and a couple of others from USF. But when I lost my scholarship, it was like, now what kind of
Hmm.
thing. And so that was one of the moments when I was like, I really got to figure this out, get it together kind of thing and sort it out. So I had to retake Calc 2 and it was annoying, but it was
Calc 2
better
is
the second go
awful.
around.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
Yeah.
it's
All you Calc 2 stands out there, get over yourselves. It's
it's
trash.
horrible.
I
It's trash.
liked Calc 2 more than Calc
Uh-huh.
1,
Well,
but
you're weird.
also
You
Diffie
are weird.
Q can, I'm not going to finish that
I
sentence, but
love differential equations. If I could remove Calc 2 from the sequence, I would have had a black. I could have been a mathematician.
That's fair.
Hmm.
no,
I
but
believe you.
you had adversity and you overcame, and it still
Thank God.
didn't make you like jaded towards school. So
Yeah.
somehow you decided you wanted to get into a PhD program.
Did you do like
Yeah.
research experiences or
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah, so my eldest sister Jade is actually, she was getting her PhD and my dad
Oh,
had
hey
always told
Jade.
us, yeah, so my sister Jade, she has her PhD in human factors
Oh,
and
Oh,
she
awesome.
works,
Okay,
yeah, and
Jade,
so
you want
she's
to be on the
working,
podcast? Hey Jade.
yeah, she would literally love,
Jade.
Jade would be like, it's a moment, like
I'm here
she's
for
like
it. Milo, you
10.
here for
I'm
it?
here. I'm here for it
Okay, we
Okay, I'll
all the
give you the
way.
info.
yeah,
100% she'll be on.
cool.
She loves it. Um, but yeah, Jade did her PhD in human factors, and my dad was always like, dads, when you're like 4, they're always like, you're gonna do it all and get your PhD, and you'll never stop learning, and you're like, whatever.
Right.
But Jade actually did it, and then she was trying to make me do it, and I was like, listen,
It's
I'm a
not
computer
strategy.
science student. I can
Mm-hmm.
get 80K with my
Mm-hmm.
Right.
bachelor's.
Mm-hmm.
But there was an opportunity to do an RU. It was a really rare opportunity actually. It was like USF was offering RU, but to take it as a class.
So, what is
Oh.
an REU for our listeners who
Oh
don't know?
yes, RU is called Research Experience for Undergraduates. It's funded by NSF. It's like at a bunch of different universities across the US. You can apply to like any REU that's stationed at a university that has like a research topic that you're interested in. It's great. I highly suggest that you go and do the thing. It helped a lot for me.
Yeah, and they'll pay for you to be there, but also
Yep.
Yeah.
like pay for sometimes lodging, sometimes
Hmm.
like other things like travel later
Mm-hmm.
on in
Right.
the year. It's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah. REUs are awesome. So I took it as a class. So I didn't get those benefits
Hmm.
because I was
Hmm.
just a student. But it was still an awesome opportunity. I learned a lot. They told us about grad school, and I was like, research isn't so bad. We did like the project we did was like sound localization, or like
What?
kind of like sound signatures in rooms and like recognizing rooms.
Oh,
And so
that's
we got
cool.
our little Weka setup going, and we were recognizing the different rooms and the engineering buildings.
Oh,
So
that's
that's what we did
cool.
for our project.
Yeah, Kyla's trying to take you now.
I know, right? I was like, so when are you
Sound.
done? My lab might need a postdoc. So, no, that's really cool though. So that made
Yeah,
you like,
that got it going.
okay.
Yeah, and so after that, I was like, "Ooh, this was kind of fun," and I ended up reaching out to Dr. Hendricks. He's like the algorithms um, teacher or professor at USF, and he's notorious. He's just so like he's like just one of those brilliant mind people. But was always my favorite. Like he's just such a good time. And so I reached out to him and I was like, Dr. Hendricks, like I really enjoyed that. I don't know what to do. I want to volunteer in a research lab. I don't know what to do. And we had new faculty or newer faculty. He was like, hey, here are some people who are just getting their labs going. Like you can definitely reach out to them and try and get in there, while the going is good. And that's how I met Dr. Neal. And
Nice.
yeah, we had our initial meeting. And after the RU, I did like a write up, like a little scientific paper. And so I
No.
was able to present that to her, and she was like, oh, she can write.
Right. So that's half the battle with the PhD
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. So she was really excited, and Dr. Neal really did most of the rest of the legwork for making me or encouraging me to like do the PhD, because I was still like, okay, I'll do a little master's with thesis, and but she was like, you have the stuff, do the thing, and I was like,
It's
okay,
always the
That's
stuff.
awesome.
yeah,
That is awesome. Because sometimes people just need to be told that they are
hmm,
capable. Like they can
yeah. I
have it,
think
but
I
just
made
no
it
one
through
told
it.
them.
Yeah,
And
and
not your
honestly, my
sister being the one to tell you.
yeah. Yeah, she definitely helped. She was like, "You got to do it. Like you're pretending like you don't like it, but you definitely like it. I know you." And I was like, "Okay, sure." But she was right.
Just say it.
Okay, let's stop here.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
a break. You don't have to stop your garage band though. I think. Oh wait, did Allison say she liked one long? Oh yeah, I would say just leave it because I feel like I would forget to restart it and then. Okay, that was good. So I'm thinking the next segment you can talk about like how was undergrad different from grad school, because there are a lot of people who are in similar stages that may not know. Like a lot of them think, oh yeah, you just take more classes and sign up for more loans. Like they don't know that, all the wonderful things. And then awesome. Yes, definitely. Bamboozled. Okay.
Okay.
Also, do you want to just go straight into it, or would
Oh,
you like me
sure.
to
Yeah, yeah,
ask?
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you
I was
can.
like,
No, no. I was like, well, would it sound better with a question? I'm thinking.
No, she can keep going because
Yeah,
she was just talking about her sister.
that's true.
yeah. So, one of my biggest fears, like Jade always encouraged me to do it, Dr. No encouraged me to do it, but even still, like it took a little bit to win me over, right? So, I was my hugest fear of like grad school was like I just did all that for my bachelor's. Like architecture is hard, computer architecture was hard, algorithms was hard, operating systems that was hard, and
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't. I was like, I don't know if I can do that again, like at
Yeah.
another intensity, just like at a higher level. Like it was really scary, and I didn't know if I'd be able to make it through those classes. And Dr. Neil was like, "You can make it through those classes," and I was like, "I don't know, we'll see." But yeah, that was honestly a huge, 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 huge fear of mine. I was like, grad school is just like the same classes, but just amplified, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it amplified. I don't know if I can make that.
Did you
No, and I
have?
think that's
Oh,
oh,
go ahead.
go ahead,
I
Kyla.
was gonna say, did you have many of the same teachers from undergrad in grad school?
It didn't end up that way. No, no. So, and I think that's something I was afraid of. I was like, because I didn't know, I didn't realize, that different professors taught, yeah, the grad courses. So I was expecting like the same thing from the same people, just like several notches up. Yeah.
Before we move on, try to like keep your microphone in front of you because you've been going like
Oh,
back
okay.
and forth, and so it sounds like your voice is like different spaces.
Okay.
So just like try to be mindful of where you're
Sure.
moving because it's like coming from the front of the mic, not the side.
Oh,
Yeah,
I should do this then.
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
do that. Um, okay, okay. So what about like the money piece? Because I know that that's usually a concern for students too. Is like
Yeah.
I feel like I keep talking about money, but like y'all, it's really important to like think about the implications of what going to school might do on you financially when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So grad school's more expensive.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that?
Excellent question. I guess my ego was strong. I had
That's okay.
I had every like indication just in my brain. I was like, there's no way, like as a black woman in computer science, I was like, I'm not paying for graduate school.
That
I
part.
mean,
It's not
facts.
happening. I don't know what I have to do, but like I was like, it's just it's not feasible. Like it would be
Right.
dumb of me to end up in that position is how I felt about myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
But um, Dr.
And
Neil
did you
feels
apply to other programs? Sorry for interrupting,
no,
but
I
did you
didn't.
apply? Okay.
Wow. That's been a theme
Okay.
with some of our guests. They're like, I'm gonna
Really?
do this and I'm gonna be here. And
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna do that right there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But honestly, Dr. Neil's support and like being with her as an undergraduate, it was just 1 year, I think, that I was with her and then over the summer. But I was like, okay, so my biggest thing that I had learned about like the PhD was like your advisor, it's a marriage and you need to have a good relationship with your advisor. And I was like, I want to have an advisor who I know is going to have my back and like is going to
right.
root for
Hmm.
me and always want what's best for me. And I have always felt that way about Dr. Neil and I've never had a doubt in my mind. And so I was like, why,
Why move?
yeah,
Yeah.
why go somewhere else? I have it
Uproot your
here.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember the question.
It was about money. I know, it's my
Money,
Yes.
fault, I
yeah. Oh,
interrupted
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So Dr. Neal is very passionate about making sure her students are funded.
Okay.
And so teaching assistantships were a thing. I didn't really have to think that hard about it. USF is pretty good about teaching assistantships, but with respect to like other things like scholarships, I was actually approached by Mr. Batson. He is a
Bernard
good
Watson.
man.
Hey.
Yeah, he's who introduced me to the Sloan program.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
nice.
Yeah. So Mr. Batson hooked it all up. Like I didn't really know about the Sloan Foundation. I knew a PhD student who's now Dr. Wright, Andrea Wright. I met her as an undergrad as well. She was a Sloan Scholar and a McKnight Scholar and
Hmm.
all that good stuff. But yeah, Mr. Batson was the key in the plug, and he got it all set up, and I just did the little application. But yeah, it's
In
the
other words, find the Mr. Batson on your
find the
Yes.
Mr.
campus.
Batson at your university. They are out
Hmm.
there. They like know that there's all this money out there for students, but they're looking for students to help connect and give that money to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are people at universities who are in engineering in particular, they're minority engineering program
Yep.
coordinators, right? And those are typically staff people, although sometimes they do have faculty who hold those positions.
Hmm.
And they're responsible for managing a lot of funding that comes in to support students, a lot of programs that like kind of help people with transition. So like you could think of it as like the summer bridge from high school to undergrad, or even summer bridges at the graduate school
Hmm.
level, the RU programs, outreach, all that kind of stuff, student organizations.
Yep.
So find those people at your universities because they're first of all, they're phenomenal because they are service oriented, right? They care about
Yep.
you as a person, a whole person.
Right.
They're not just in it for, oh, this grant money. It's about how do I ensure that you're going to be successful and give you
Yeah.
the keys.
Right. And
So,
they're eager to give out the money.
Yes.
hmm hmm so that's great.
Always.
I'm so happy
Yes.
that you were able to find that space on your campus and get connected. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that you're still giving back to
I
groups and
have
stuff like
to.
that.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't want it any other way because I literally, if I didn't have people who were like, you can do this and try this, I don't know where I'd be. So,
Hmm
That's really cool. So I have a quick question for you. So you participate in lots of CRA, WP activities, and these are geared towards, helping you persist in school. And, you've probably heard lots of the problems that other grad students or challenges that they may have on their path. Do you think that having a Black advisor, especially a Black woman advisor, has kept you away from some of these challenges that you hear other people
Mm.
have?
yeah, that's a great question. I think so. Something really interesting. Well, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but like summer 2020, when the social justice movement was very much aflame,
hmm
having, I mean, Dr. Neola's support just to kind of be like, I mean, there were projects that we're supposed to be working on, but I
Right.
was like, I can't focus on that. Like, it was
hmm
hard to
hmm
get up and do things. And Dr. Neal was 100% like, made a message in the lab chat and was like, hey, it's okay. It's okay to like not be, cranking out at your normal level right now. And I didn't know that that was not something that was happening across the board.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah. When I
Yeah.
spoke to other PhD students is when I realized they were at other universities. I didn't really like speak to other students at USF per se, but they were like, "Oh wow, that's awesome that Dr. Neal did that," and I was like, "Did yours not?" Like, but yeah, it makes all the difference, really. It does, and like the imposter syndrome, like she just gets it. I mean, she's been there. I have
hmm
that very frequently. I'm always like, I don't know. I'm very intimidated by wireless signals and sound. And Dr. Neal's like, everybody's kind of been at that position where they didn't know it, but then one day you know it,
Yep.
hmm
and so it's like, it's okay that you're feeling like you don't really know what's going on, like you're learning. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
goodness.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, Tempest.
I
We need to talk to
know.
her.
Oh, yeah, she's
It's
next
been
on the
too
list.
long.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been way too long. I think it's really important, and I mean, I can tell you anecdotally from my experiences. While I was still a grad student, Kyla was already faculty, because she's a boss. But like, I was literally like, there were days where I would like come into my lab, like into the office, and be like completely numb,
Mm,
and nobody would have any words, like, you know what I mean, like nobody would say anything. It
yeah.
would just be like, oh, this is a normal day for them.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, I'm gonna do what I have to do to get out of here, and then I'm out of here.
Right.
And I've had instances where stuff was exasperated
Mm,
by other people who just weren't aware, because
Yeah.
it's not their community. They
right.
don't see it. They're not even watching that news channel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like, it's really tough to navigate a space like that when you
Hmm.
don't have someone who looks like you,
Yeah.
someone who understands. So I'm glad that you have that, because it really isn't everyone's story.
Yeah. It's such a
And
blessing.
and even still, like, she doesn't have to do that, right? Like,
Exa-
even though she is part of that community,
yeah.
she doesn't have to. She
Yeah.
made the choice to do that.
Yep.
And that's really admirable. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I just
So
realized her advisor is one of my mentors who is a Black man. So I'm like, I wonder if is there some trickle down Blackness effect going on? So
It probably is.
Dr.
It
Damon
probably is.
Woodard was her advisor, and I'm
Mm,
like, maybe she felt that amount of. I'm just totally speculation, but maybe there's something to it, having someone who can understand your experience that relieves you
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of the pressure of like, oh, I have to perform, I have to do this, and someone's just like, I get you, I see
yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there are even days like where I'm like, okay, you get nervous for your one-on-ones. You're like, I hope I have enough to like, I hope like she's not disappointed because I don't have enough going on or whatever. But like, there are some days she'll just hear it in my voice. Like, she's like, you're stressed, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I'm
Oh.
a little stressed. And she's like, okay, what I want you to do is just take the rest of the weekend off. Like, don't do anything until like Wednesday.
Oh wow,
She's like, just don't do anything.
can she
I mean,
come
do
be
your
my
schoolwork,
boss?
do your classwork, but the research, just leave it alone. Tell everyone I'll get back to it on Wednesday. Just take some time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
are you sure? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Girl, you live in the dream.
Yeah,
That's a nice situation you got going
right.
on there.
I
So
know.
I guess like what are some challenges that you feel like you're experiencing that are grad school related? Maybe it's not even grad school because that's really for me
Yeah.
that was it.
I think I don't know. I want to say like most of the pressure that I have, I feel it's pressure that I put on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much like, and it's funny because, something that Dr. Neal is very passionate about is making sure that all of her students are fully funded and so on. But I'm always like, I want to get this fellowship, which is like ambition. But I also always want to make sure that, there's, I don't know how to describe it. I feel that I put a lot of pressure on myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so kind of taking the edge off is something that I always have a hard time doing. Yeah, I'm really hard on myself. And so I'm just kind of giving myself room to like make mistakes and breathe and just kind of like fail gracefully and learn along the way kind of thing. I'm hard on myself, yeah.
That's
I
definitely
think we
some.
all are.
Yeah, we all definitely are, and
Yeah.
it's good that you're that meta about it to be able to
Yeah.
recognize that it's happening and put things in place. Because I don't think I had those words for
Yeah. She's
you
super
know.
self-aware. It's
Yeah,
probably the time off that she has to think,
The time to
right.
reflect.
You have time to think about yourself. Like, what is
thinking
this?
about
Yeah.
thinking. Mm-hmm. Metacognition. That's what
Yes,
That's so
she's doing
funny.
for y'all.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop this one right here because I
Okay.
think this is a good place to stop.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. Also, this one, this isn't right. Oh, the Sierra. Yes. Okay, so that was like right after we had just like released. I no, we did it MLK Day through March. Oh yes, we love her. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. Danae is such a clown. Yes, she's living in 2090 right now. So, okay, one other thing I think would be cool to just like talk about your research, like was 'cause we gave a bunch of words, but I'm trying to think of how we can arc also to the CRA WP stuff. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. And then I saw that you had this grant. Can you work in the if there is stuff you can talk about? I'm not sure if it's like super new. The Yeah, erasing the stigma of mental illness on college campuses. So if you can tie that into what you're working on. Yeah, so all those details, all the tea, and then we can segue into CRA stuff. Okay. It doesn't sound like it is. Okay, yeah. No, that was me today at church. I was so cold and tired. I was like, I feel like the people they talk about, like, bring us your tired and weary, your cold, huddled masses. I'm like, that's all me. That's all me. I was so tired. Oh, and you just coming back? Yeesh. Oh, whose Christmas party? Okay, that's cool. Like no more Christmas parties, man. PC people, got it. Yeah, I can imagine. I went to a party with a bunch of doctors because my new friend is married to a surgeon, and they were cutting up. Where I was like, I don't want any of you ever operating on me. There's one guy in particular. They're like, it's okay. He's an anesthesiologist. He's not a real doctor. He was lit, lit. Yeah. Calm down. Yeah. Yeesh. Well, they were wild, wild. Whoop. Did you get it on tape? Ooh. They'll never find the bodies. No. I never. Oh, that's a good point. That's hilarious. Oh yeah, you forgot the other question you had here. Did I write this or did you write that? I don't remember. I think you wrote it. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Okay. So, yeah. So, Sade, we've talked a lot about, your. Nope, I'm starting over. Like all the words wanted to come out at the same time. So, Sade, we've talked a lot about your school experience, but like what actually do you work on, like on the day to day?
Yeah, so right now on the day to day, I am trying to make myself work on my literature review. This this is where I'm at.
Same.
Real talk. Wait, what is a lit review? Just for, aspiring PhD students?
Yeah, so a literature review is where you basically do a really deep and comprehensive dive on your area of choice. And so I'm trying to learn the ins and outs of deception detection. So one day I can say I'm a deception detection expert or sensing expert with, applications to deception detection kind of thing. But yeah, I'm trying to get going with my literature review. I It was hard. It's really really hard to do literature review things while you're like taking classes because there's always a project to work on and then you have your outside research projects. So it was really hard for me to balance that. I did not do a good job, but now that I'm finished with my classwork, which I'm so excited about,
Oh, that's great.
I have more time to like dedicate to the literature review piece. But basically, I'm interested in deception detection, and I I'm interested in like different ways to kind of like recognize behaviors that may be I don't want to say, that may indicate or kind of hint at like this person could be deceiving you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in like video and sound and wireless sensing, so like channel
Like
state.
deep fakes.
So yeah, you did mention you.
Yes, and not so much deep
So
fakes.
not as much deepfakes. That's kind of like recognizing. That's a little bit different, but
Okay.
I'm interested in just like people.
Like an
Like
audio
actual
lie
humans.
detector. Like, does your
Yeah,
voice pitch go up? Did you change some
yeah,
aspect of your voice when you're
Mm-hmm.
lying?
Like how some people say, like when your eye moves,
right.
like you're
Yes,
lying.
yeah,
Because you are
that
reading the
kind of
lie
thing.
in space.
Interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I've always been interested in like human behavior, and so I
Do
I
you
did a
think that
little bit of work in like
connects to your
gesture.
mom?
Huh?
Do you think that connects to your mom?
That's a good question. Probably. Probably. Um, Yeah, honestly, probably because I mean,
Because
and
she's
something
like putting together like the pieces of crime, right? So you have
Yeah,
to like understand like someone's thought process and
right.
like, okay,
yeah,
like they went over here and then they moved that and then this happened. Do you know what I mean? So like
no,
there's
I
the
hear you.
potential that somehow that permeated and you're
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it
like,
spilled over.
I definitely
Honestly,
see it.
yeah, the thing that I remember a lot about like my mom when she was working in crime scene was definitely like her depositions. I mean, I was never
mhm.
there, but when she would be kind of like called to go in and like testify as like an expert witness kind of thing, I was always like, it was just funny because I know my mom's behaviors. She's like super sarcastic and like so when she would have to repeat things that she's already written in the report, she would kind of like eye roll and like
That's amazing.
so it's like I'm like I wonder like how much these people really understand, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
how my mom is really feeling about this kind of
Right,
thing,
right. Because
because she puts on a smile but she's like, ugh, I don't want to be here kind of thing,
right, 'cause
so
if you know her mannerisms, then that's how
right.
you are able to, I feel
Mm.
like that's also something with, the signal analysis. Like there's some
Mhm.
element of knowing that person's like baseline and then looking
Absolutely.
at those deviations to be like you may not, just seeing the deviation, you may not key in on it, but
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Absolutely, because she would always complain about like how they would ask her questions about things that she'd already written in the report, and she's like, she said that she would keep her eyes closed when she would roll her eyes, but so her eye, she'd be looking here, and then she'd
Uh-huh.
close her eyes, and then her eyes would be.
I'm
She's
gonna
like, I
start
never
doing
actually
that.
roll my eyes with them open, but I'm
Right.
rolling my eyes.
Mm.
That's hilarious.
Interesting.
I needed that for Zoom where they make you turn your cameras on.
You probably did need that for Zoom because I have seen Kyla's face in meetings, and I'm just
It's
like, let me
bad.
not laugh
Yeah.
because then it'll
It's
set
so
somebody
easy to
off.
forget because there are so many times when you do the Zoom calls and you don't have the camera on, and then you're like, and then
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, did you have something to say?" It's like, "Oh, no, no, no."
Oh no, I was
Yeah.
looking over there and then up there and then over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But okay, so when we were talking earlier, we
Mhm.
realized that you've switched topics, right? Like you've switched directions.
Yes.
So where were you before and why did you change?
Yes. So it's kind of funny just because I think, okay, so before I was doing more like gesture, emotion, behavior, kind of like gestures as behaviors, implicit, explicit, how those behaviors may translate semantically to an emotion. Um, Super interested in that. I still find that super fascinating. Um, but I kind of, Dr. Neil, she's good at what she does, man, but she realized that I had like four different dissertation topics in my head.
Mm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, we had to do the, okay, here's one, here's two, here's three, here's four. Sade. And it was like each week we would kind of narrow it down a little bit
Yeah.
and narrow it and narrow it. And then so um it was like, what do you love the most about each thing? And like kind
Mm.
of write it out, and what kind of questions or potential papers or whatever that you see coming from these topics, like what would you want to investigate?
Mm.
And so it was the gesture emotion recognition. And then I was kind of interested in authentication a little bit with emotion. And it was so many things that I was just like, hey, Dr. No, what if we do this? And she'd be like, okay. And then it just got to a point where she was like, no, 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 we need to,
Rein this
yeah,
in.
cut it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Trim the
so
fat. That's what we say.
Yeah.
Trim the
I'm,
fat.
I'm sorry. When I speak, I can't hear you.
Oh no, you're fine. I said trim the fat.
Yes. Yes. Trim the fat. We had
Hmm.
to. It's
Yeah.
literally just happened this past semester. It just happened.
But that's good though to kind of have someone who can help you to shape that idea into, something concrete that you can work on and complete in a
100%.
PhD. So are you
Yeah.
interested in doing more research or being like faculty or anything like that when you're done?
That's a, that's something that I've honestly been struggling with.
Mm.
I have so as a Sloan Scholar, you have the opportunity to go to this conference, and it's called the Institute on Teaching and Mentoring,
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome. And you see so many like Black students, and they're in all different kind of disciplines, and but it's super focused towards people going into academia.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not 100% if that's me. Also, while I was TAing, I was like, ooh, I really don't know if this is me.
Girl, I feel
um,
you.
you really like learn how you feel about teaching people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I can do that. But there's, it's like a conviction. I have this conviction to like still be, I don't know, present in like the academic space,
Mm-hmm.
and still interact with students because it made such a difference for me. No matter where I go and what I do, I still want to like if I'm in industry, I would want to do like an adjunct or some
Okay.
service with a university and like still be involved there. But I have a really great mentor. His name is Dennis Matthews. He's at
Mm.
Intel Research, and so I talk with him a lot, kind of about this and like the research versus academia or the industry versus academia thing. But I actually found Dennis from listening to one of your episodes.
Really?
Yeah. I learned about the
Whoa.
IMCS website.
Girl, you better
Okay.
go.
And
Mm.
Yes.
then that was the summer I was like, I gotta get it together. Because I listened to you guys and I was like, I gotta figure it out. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I made an account on the IMCS and I found
Oh.
my little mentor, and Dennis and I have been talking ever
Wow.
since.
That's amazing.
Yeah, seriously, it's 180. So
Wow.
Dennis and I, we literally meet like we were meeting weekly, but we meet bi-weekly now, and he's awesome. And I'm so
Wow.
grateful. But yeah, Dennis is huge, and he
That
helps me rein
I'm
in
like
my
about to
brain.
cry again. Oh my gosh. Y'all, okay. So we didn't even talk about this, but I literally Sade sent us an email
Oh my gosh.
after I met her. I I cried reading it and I couldn't respond. So I just
Aw.
forwarded it to like other people in IMCS who were like part of our leadership team, and I was just like, I want you all to read this. Like, this is what impact looks like for us. And I got so many messages back from people like, "Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. This is amazing." But like, I'm not gonna pull it up and read it because I will
It's
100%
gonna
cry
happen
again.
again. Yeah.
But like, we worked really hard to get like a presence nationally where people knew that we had these resources.
Mm-hmm.
So to have someone like literally out of the clear blue sky send an email after just like randomly seeing me
Yeah.
at a conference virtually was just
I had
like,
to.
oh my goodness. And so I read that email and I'd already decided we were going to interview her. Like I was like, would you be open to it? But like after that I was like, oh, 100%
Aw.
she's being interviewed. I
Yeah.
just thank you for being willing to share like how we impacted your trajectory.
It made such a difference, I swear. And I this is not sponsoring or like I literally stumbled. I can't remember. I feel like I saw it on. I have an academic Twitter, and so I think
Okay.
Mm.
I followed maybe like Black in AI or like
Mhm.
Black Women in AI or something. And maybe that's how I found the podcast. And then I was like, oh, I gotta listen to this. And I found out it was like two Black women. And then I found out you guys were at UF. And I was like, that's right down the street.
Right,
And
we
I was
down the
like, oh, I gotta
street.
listen to this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it made a huge difference. And so, yeah, when I started listening in summer of 2019, I mean, there was, I don't know, it just completely, I was like, wow, it was just so many good things to think about. You know what I mean? That I wasn't thinking about before. Um, I mean, it just made sense. It made sense to do everything that you guys were telling me to do. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And I wanted to do it. And since then, I was like, I gotta brand myself. And so I like made my little website. And
Yes.
yeah, I tried to
I
do what I
love
could do.
it.
I
Oh my
tried.
goodness.
Yeah.
You were
Like,
like the dictionary definition of like best case scenario for all of these, different interventions that we're involved with. Cause I know like sometimes like you're just wondering like, what is the point? Are people getting anything from it? And then along comes Sade with an email that's like, let me
right.
tell you how you changed my life.
Yeah. I want you to know that when you're Dr. King, like the day that that's happening, we gonna be there.
Oh yes, with
Please
signs.
do.
We're gonna be
Oh,
there.
I'll be
So
so
just be
excited.
sure to let
Yes,
us know
please
because
let
we
us
coming
know.
I
in
absolutely
full
will.
force with
Yes,
all of
I
our Black
100% I
female
will.
magic. We out
yes.
there. We out here.
Thank you. I could cry. That's so exciting.
Oh,
Thank you
No,
so much.
it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
So,
definitely. Oh,
okay. Now that we've talked about all of the amazingness that you are, we want to know what's next. Where are you gonna be? What are you gonna do
Yeah.
in the next couple years?
I will be working on my PhD,
On the
God
grind.
willing,
yes.
and then in 2 years, God willing, I should be done. Um, I've this is my third year that I'm on now, and so we just finished up the semester. But yeah, I think I have around about 2 years left. We're doing the lit review, then we'll get into data collection and all the fun stuff. But in the meantime, I am probably still going to be hustling for fellowship money because I
Should.
can't seem to stop.
Hey, you
Should.
have a
Keep
good
going.
package, just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Don't forget Ford
Yeah, I think some,
Foundation.
huh?
Don't forget Ford Foundation as well.
Yes. Yes. See, there are so that's actually this is something okay, this is something that was I don't want to say irritating to me, but when I realized I'm supposed to be applying to fellowships, I realized when I was in that awkward like I'm not just starting, but
Yeah.
I'm not at the end. There are a few fellowships that are for people that are kind of like in the midst,
Yeah.
right? And so when I found out about them, there were only like one or two that I could apply to. So I applied to like the NSFG RFP and
Mm-hmm.
like
Hmm.
um, the
Graduate Research
Microsoft
Fellowship Program.
one,
Hmm.
yeah, and the Facebook one as well. But
Hmm.
it's like it's so weird. There are lots of like we're trying to help you get out, like dissertation,
Yep.
and then there's the we got to get you in the PhD program, so
Hmm.
here's the funding. But like when you're in there, it's kind of like a dead zone. You got
Yeah.
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 But I
Got
learned
you.
about a lot of things that I can look forward to applying to as I like get towards my later years. So definitely, the hustle for fellowships will not stop.
Okay.
But
Hey, I
also,
love
I hope
it.
to continue doing internships. I will probably be doing an internship with P&L this upcoming summer, God willing, all being well. I really enjoyed my time there last summer, and I like the idea of it, like working. It's like industry, but not industry.
Hmm.
It's a
Hmm.
good. So my sister, right? She works directly for government, DoD, but when the government shuts down,
Oh,
she
yeah.
gets furloughed. But you
Hmm.
don't get
Hmm.
furloughed at like government contractors.
Huh.
Interesting.
So you
It's big
found a
Interesting.
brain
hustle.
energy right there.
That's big
Yeah.
brain energy, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You found that one little loophole.
Girl.
It's a little loophole. But yeah, I've always really I mean, everyone in my family, there's always been a service component. So I'm really big on service and giving back. Um yeah, so I've always kind of wanted to have that service component in whatever I do in life. I've always wanted to kind of work for the government. And so I think that like national labs are a happy medium. And I've enjoyed my time so far.
Awesome. 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 Well, okay. It's been such a pleasure interviewing you, hearing your story, being reminded why we do this.
Yes.
And I want people to be able to follow you and your academic Twitter and wherever else you may be. So if you want to like let us know how we can connect with you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you can find me on academic Twitter. I believe my handle is just my first name, Sayde_King.
Hmm.
And then I have my little website that I made.
Aw.
And I think it's just my first and last name.com. But you have to Google it. I don't remember.
I'll
I have to update it too.
it'll
But
be on the website for this
okay.
episode, so I'll Google it and link it so people can
Awesome.
have some direct ways to access you.
Yay.
It was a pleasure,
This
and
was so much fun. Thank you
I
so,
am.
so much.
Yes, this was a lot
Thank
of
you.
fun.
My
Thank you for
entire
being
family
you.
was geeking. They were like, "Oh my god, that's so
Aw.
cool! You got to tell me when the episode comes out." I was like, "I'll let you
Yeah, for
know."
sure, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
All right.